Hello, my name is Aarvig Falster. I'm from the National Trust of Norway. I also want to say thank you to the Estonian Heritage Board for giving us this time to let us introduce ourselves. I'm also here with my two colleagues, Mari and Elin. So I'm going to give a short introduction about the National Trust of Norway, and I'm going to talk about our reflection of the bilateral cooperation with Landerana Parish. And I work at the Department of Oslo and Akershus. We have our offices in Oslo at this preserved farm from the end of the 17th century. And the National Trust of Norway owns and maintains around 40 properties throughout the country, and this is one of them. Who are we and what do we stand for? The National Trust of Norway was established in 1844, and that makes us the oldest active cultural heritage organization in the world. We have approximately 7,000 members in Norway, and we have volunteer teams throughout the country. In Oslo and Akershus, we have around 2,600 members, so that's why we also have the opportunity to have 3 employees. And our main task is to organize the volunteer work. Our aim is to work for the preservation of our country's cultural monuments worthy of protection, as well as to create a general understanding of the value of these. When the National Trust of Norway was established in 1844, the aim was to save the state churches from being torn down. I would also like to add that many people think that buildings need to be very old to be valuable or worthy of protection. That is not the case. Today, we and the Cultural Heritage Management is also heavily concerned about the modern and the post-war architecture. And also Anette, she talked about arkitekturopprøret earlier. That's on everyone's tongue in Norway lately, and a difference between that movement and the organization that I work in is that we are concerned about monuments and cultural heritage sites from all areas, from all historical periods. Our main task is to manage our historic properties. We work to strengthen traditional craft and building conservation. We organize seminars and workshops for the wider public to help tackle modern challenges to heritage conservation. We engage in protection cases and preservation. That can mean writing consultant statements and influence cultural heritage policy in Norway. Now I started to think about, we got a question when we got visitors from the Estonian delegation last year in April, and I remember someone or one of them asked us how many buildings are we able to save, and I just want to give it's one example for those of you. I know that some of you have been at Veinvollen, where you have our offices. And that area, we have a lot of buildings from the beginning of the 1930. Sagene is the area called, and in the 80s, the 70s, 80s, that area was in danger of being demolished, but then volunteers from the National Trust of Norway, they made an alternative plan and they managed to change the mind of the politicians. So what I want to say is that it is possible. I also think one of our strengths is that we are able to, like sometimes we can go further than our friends in the cultural heritage management. As a volunteer organization, we can work more independently. And then, for instance, we have the Y block that you see in the picture here. The Y block, maybe a lot of you have heard of it. It got a lot of attention both nationally and internationally. Yes, it got torn down. We lost the case. But the Y block will not be forgotten. I believe that. And also, we aim, last but not least, we aim to be the leading voluntary organization in the cultural heritage in Norway. So what is our reflection of the bilateral cooperation with Landerana parish? This picture was taken when we were lucky to be visited by the National Heritage Board of Estonia and all the project partners in Estonia that have received the EEA and Norway grant. This was also our first meeting with our project partners. In September, we visited our project partners in Lihula, and we got an insight into their project to restore the historical liquor storehouse. The restoration of the historical liquor storehouse the historical liquor storehouse is located within the Lihula's heritage area, and it's part of the Lihula Manor ensemble. The purpose of restoring the building is to meet the needs of the local community and live in the active use of the heritage area. The plan is to transform the liquor storehouse into a communal handicraft workshop and a heritage protection information center. Now, our immediate thought was that it was very interesting for us, and we thought that Veinvollen, the protected farm where we have our offices, could prove as a good example of how a protected facility can have a new and successful use. We have tended to focus on reuse and traditional craftsmanship, and in this way, we have built up a professional environment where building protection is in focus. This is a picture inside the historical liquor storehouse. Then you also see Helletrin on the very right, for me at least, that guided us during our stay in Estonia. This is the old distillery, now in ruins, beautiful building. I hope to see it rebuilt one day. This is the ruins from the medieval fortress. It's not part of the project, but it is a part of the heritage area, and it's part of making the unique atmosphere in Lihula. Now, overall, it was a very positive experience. The people in Lihula and our project partners have achieved a lot with little resources. They have a great reverence for the history and the historic buildings. In Lihula, there are many people who are engaged and there is a lot of activity, but there's not an organization that manages the volunteer work. But after our trip, our project partner told us that they have established a volunteer organization. And it's very flattering for us to hear that we can be a source of inspiration. The people in Lihula welcomed us with warmth and historical knowledge. I want to emphasize how welcoming they were, and it was clear that they cared about making us feel comfortable. We believe that the project has all the key ingredients that are needed to be successful. They have people that are engaged, they have people with historical knowledge, they have a town with many interesting historical buildings, they have a welcoming community and cozy and homey hostel. And the restoration of the historical liquor storehouse will be an important step in the right direction. Now I heard, as we heard earlier, I know they have some economic difficulties, but we really hope that it will work out. Wait. Yes, and I also wanted to just talk about the picture. It was a local who offered us some pears, and he told us that it was a local pear variety, a very old one, I think. And from my point of view, this local pear is as worthy of protection as the historical buildings. Our stay in Estonia lasted for 5 days. We visited many interesting cultural heritage sites, and we got an insight into traditional Estonian building practice, including Lihula. We visited Pärnu, the Estonian Open Air Museum outside Tallinn, and many other stops through the way. We had a fantastic guide, Helle-Triin Hansumai from the Estonian Heritage Board, that spent many days and hours with us, sharing her knowledge about Lihula and Pärnu and all the cultural heritage sites we visited, which we are very thankful for. The exchange of experience was very valuable for us, and it was motivating to meet other professionals working for the same case in another country. This is a picture from a visit to a local farm, which is a very important heritage monument. It was very interesting to see and learn about this traditional building practice, and very motivating to meet this engaged owner. He's in the middle of this picture. Another picture from the farm. This is a picture from Pärnu. We were lucky to get on the roof of St. Elizabeth Church. The Estonian Open Air Museum. And I just want to say, again, a big thank you to Helle-Triin and also Rain, who were our guide during the trip. I also want to send a greeting to Marika Walk, which have a very important part of the project, and I hope to meet her in person one day. And with this picture from the beach in Pärnu, I want to say thank you for your time and attention. Please don't hesitate. If you do have any questions or comments, you can come to me or my colleagues. Thank you.